G'day everyone and welcome back to the Perkins Engineering YouTube channel. For those that follow the Facebook page quite closely, you'll be delighted to know that I've ironed my Perkins Motorsport Retro Polo shirt. So these are available online, perkinsengineering.com.au or perkinsmotorsport.com. So retro Perkins Motorsport gear from 1990 and the retro caps. There's a few of these left. Polo shirts, t-shirts. Check them out online. This is a bit of a bonus episode. Our last episode, number 60, on the mighty VL Commodore was very successful and lots of questions and people asking to see a bit more about the car. So without further ado, what we're going to do is lift it up on the hoist and I'll give you a bit of a tour underneath. All right, so we're up on the hoist and it's a good chance to have a good look under the VL Commodore. So the big flat under tray. For those of you that are asking why was the VL better than the VN? Well, the VN had zero front under tray. So that's the first reason. And then let's get in and have a look at some of the other suspension and engine bits and pieces. So you can see straight away, there's the big wet sump. So yeah, no dry sump in the boot, big wet sump, a fabricated sump by Perkins Engineering to suit this particular engine, which is number 120. And then part of what we assisted with was making the oil cooler bracketry as per original drawing. So all the oil cooler ducting and bracketry is as per period correct. Same with the radiator, we sourced that when we sourced the 93 and 94 car radiators. So yeah, all that stuff is sort of as period correct. Those of you with a keen eye will notice that the factory sway bar mounts are here, which is where it mounts on the 93 and the 94 VPs, but they use this extension now on this particular car to get the roll bar a little bit lower, I think just for fitment and angles through to the suspension. And then that then meant that they ran a small little aluminium bar across here to help mount the oil cooler, which on the 93 and 94 cars, that's the actual roll bar. So that's to help mount the oil cooler. And then you can see the oil filter here and the little sandwich between the filter here and the oil, the factory GM oil pump. And that's so that you can run an oil cooler, a remote oil cooler there. So that's what we used back in 92, 91 as well. And then over to the suspension. As you can see, it still utilizes the VK strut knuckle, which is a bit hard to see, but that's in here. And then you use a dog bone for the calipers. And then you can still change the pins, and then they're beefed up for a steering arm here so you can get the right geometry and bump steer that you need for a race car. But effectively that strut knuckle and front suspension is the same on the 93 car, 94 car, right through to the VX Commodore. We ran that VK knuckle and then just changed different offset pins to give you different geometry. So from the lower pin here into the lower control arm. So that gave you suspension geometry adjustments. And you can see shock absorber and the spring, it's all as sort of 93 car, all very similar to things that we've shown you in the past. We were able to assist with the brake ducting, and this is another PE factory part, another original item that we remanufactured for this car, as well as bits and pieces on the exhaust system. And working our way back down the car, it's got the manual steering rack, the Kirby Bishop, same as the VPs. And then I guess the biggest difference, obviously the body shell is a slightly different floor pan and settings, but still uses the underfloor pedal system, which we've seen on the 93 and the 94 cars. So that's as identical setup to those VPs. And the exhaust system, very similar. So it's got a Perkins Engineering first muffler and then a brand new secondary muffler here where we make the cutout for the trailing arm, and that nice new tailpipe and setup there is all as per Perkins Engineering specifications. The mufflers are stainless and mild steel for forward through into the tri-wire system. So that's kind of the engine driveline. 6-speed gearbox, nice earth cable here. Again, part of the complementary wiring that's in this car. Done a fantastic job. The brake bias cable comes through from up next to the driver's seat down here, and that's how you change the brake bias. Obviously, you've got a front and rear master cylinder, and then this will slide forward and aft to change the percentage front and rear when you're pushing on the brake pedal. Clutch master cylinder there, and then the tail shaft running down here. Got the safety hoop here, and then the rear end is effectively, it's very similar in terms of the diff housing and the hardware, but the VL uses a 3-link rear. So it's got the 2 lower trailing arms on either side, and it's only got 1 top arm up there, which is what they know as the 3rd link. Use that short arm, beefed up arm, and there's nothing on the other side. And it's set up for that so that there's no binding in terms of when the diff and body roll and whatnot. That's how they ran them in the VLs. And I have seen this before in New Zealand, actually in the New Zealand Super Tourers, and the 3rd arm was mounted in the middle, but very similar sort of design with the 9-inch and whatnot. So we've got the Herrick diff ratio in there, standard PE yokes on the diff, and yeah, brand new rotors front and rear on this car. They just got a little bit of surface rust on them when we came down, when we got the car down from Sydney. But as you see, they're still brand new. Herrick rotors on the back. The fuel tank, again, very similar to that on the 93, 94 car. Got the Bilstein rear shockers. And yeah, so we're going to give this a bit of a once-over, get it all set up, ready to go with the panhard rod there, do the full chassis setup, clean up the little bit of surface rust on those rotors because they are absolutely brand new. And yeah, looking forward to getting stuck into this. And you can see around underneath the back a little bit of rear downforce, I guess, under there, but the rear lip on the boot would give it a bit more downforce as well. Yeah, very excited about this car. And yeah, thanks everyone for showing a bit of extra interest in this rocket. It's a cool car, and we'll keep you in touch with what we get up to, and looking forward to bringing you a few more updates. Thanks for tuning in.